Update my 20th sister's 28th behavior towards my boyfriend, 21 meters, is horrendous. What? This was absolutely badass. Yeah, maybe you didn't wear a cape. But not all heroes. Something. Here is what you did do. Put the person you loved most first. And stood up for him. He will be eternally and rightfully grateful. Learned where you stood with your family, which sounds like it was under the sole of their shoe. Set boundaries. Set yourself up for long-term happiness. Not all families love equally opus. I had to cut my parents off. For me it wasn't super difficult. So in that sense I can't sympathize. I don't have any happy memories of them. However, what I can say is that while blood ties may be stronger than traditional relationships, they are not immune to constant neglect or abuse. I'm proud of you. I remember your last post. I was worried and upset for you, and I'm happy you were able to handle it. When the shaking and anger and rawness pass, you will feel better about everything. I promise. Exactly. Op fucking killed it. Shame that the mom doesn't know how morals work though. Yup. People need to learn that just because you're related to someone doesn't mean they get leeway. Especially when they treat you like shit. You owe your parents nothing for bringing you into the world. You only owe your parents if they show you unconditional love and support, and the best way to repay it is to show the same to your own children. Fuck your sister and mum. Now I know it might hurt that she's not in your corner, but your boyfriend is. Don't hold it in. Talk to him about it. Go see a therapist if you feel you need to. You'll be a much better mum than are, and that's all that should matter. What I really suggest is that you keep these two posts somewhere safe, so that you never forget what your sister did to you and how she tried to manipulate you when you confronted her, and how she immediately went to your parents and tried to turn what she did around on your boyfriend. I had to cut off my sister about 2 years ago, and sometimes I think that if she tried to reconnect, I would want to do that. I miss her terribly. We had some really great times and were close for most of our adult lives. But she really hurt and betrayed me. Luckily, I have all the texts she sent me and even a letter she sent me while she was being awful. So anytime I think I miss her, I remember who she really is and why I could never have a relationship with her again. Also, remember that your mother immediately took her side. Didn't even ask for your version of the events. And immediately attacked your boyfriend. These people don't actually care about you. They simply want to use you. It's extremely sad and hard to come to terms with, but it's the truth. Please don't allow them to worm their way back into your life. Don't even consider apologizing to any of them, an extremely hard thing to stop yourself from doing when you've been trained to your whole life. None of this was your fault or your doing. Your sister thought she could walk all over you and you would never do a thing about it because that's what she's been doing your whole life. You've stood up for yourself now. So please don't let them manipulate you into thinking it was your fault or that you should apologize. One last thing. Also, do not let them rug sweep this. Don't let them pretend this didn't happen. They should both be apologizing to you. So if they contact you again, that should be the first thing out of their mouths, or you hang up / shut the door / walk away. Oh, please do this. Print off both posts here and any nasty texts they send you. Don't keep them out and look at them all the time, but hide them somewhere safe, and later when they try and contact you and offer to forgive you for how you behaved, and they will, take it out and look at it. You were a total badass. If I had gold, I'd give it to you. There's nothing harder than cutting off family. Especially your mom. I know this. And once you get past the trauma of it, you'll feel so much better. Just block them all. And don't look back. They're already trying to manipulate and gaslight you. You will end up mourning them. And that's okay. You're mourning what your relationship should have been, not the actual assholes you had to deal with your whole life. Treat them as if they are dead. Because they are to you. It's not fair. And what they are doing isn't right. Go ahead and cry about it. Then move on. Don't fall into the trap of feeling sorry for yourself about it. You're better than that. The hardest thing is standing up to your family. And you did that. You found your voice. You were a total badass, that's what I thought when I read this. WTF is she talking about? Not a badass moment. She was able to stand up to everyone that was using her and take some control back. Of course. They weren't being easy. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a badass moment. Shaking. Crying. Feeling drained afterward. These are all completely normally ways to react after having such a stressful encounter. I've never not felt that way after having to stand up for myself and maybe tell a few people off. It means that you're a naturally friendly person who maybe needs a kick of adrenaline when push comes to shove. I agree with the comment. I'll print these posts out. And never forget how your family treated you and the person you love. Your mother and sister are narcissists. It's not your fault. You did the right thing. Enforcing your boundaries is a big step. A therapist can help you work through this if you feel stuck at some point, but you absolutely did the right thing. This, my little sister, sounds a lot like yours, and she is also my mom's favorite. As a kid, she'd often threaten to lie about me and say who is mom going to believe, and we both knew the answer was her. It broke something inside me. I hated her as a child. I used to think she was possessed. Lol, I avoided her completely. Even then, I knew she was toxic in college. I thought she'd changed, and we became friends. I wish I had stayed away. Being friends with her led to one of the most traumatic experiences of my life, and she was awful to me. I wouldn't have believed she was capable of it had I not experienced it and had it burned into my mind. It was so egregious. I thought it wasn't possible for my mom not to support me and be upset with her. My mom is a great person and mother. She just has a giant blind spot for my sister. I was wrong. She did say she was sorry that happened, and my sister shouldn't have acted that way, and that was it. Never brought it up to my sister, and was back to taking her side and telling me to be nicer to her. Narcissists are dangerous. They are willing to destroy your life to make this slightly better. The only way to deal with them is to stay away from them as much as possible. Even though it hurts to be around her. I don't avoid my sister completely, unfortunately. Mainly for the sake of my parents. I treat like a distant cousin. I'm polite and I see her when I have to, but I will never trust her. As for the pain of feeling like the less loved child, I don't have any good advice. I still cry every time I think about it. But I'm always here if you want to vent. Feel free to DM me. Man, that's a real situation. Your mother shouldn't have such favoritism, and frankly the fact that your sister was so hyper aware of much she prioritized her says a lot. Honestly, I'd never forgive my mom if she did something like that. But you do what is best for you. I hope everything goes well for you. Thanks, I really appreciate it. It's honestly just hard to stay mad at my mom because she's a really great person in every other way. I'm hoping one day we can go to therapy together. I hope everything goes well for you also. Just know that you're perfectly within your rights to be upset, and there's nothing wrong with it. Thank you. You're very kind. I know my mom's favoritism is wrong, and it's not my fault. That was the saddest part of Op's post. Why doesn't she love me? God, I know that feeling. Having my sister behave so horrifically was ultimately helpful for me. It showed me that the favoritism wasn't rational or because my sister was better in some way. I hope Bob has a similar revelation and realizes that it's a failing on her mom's part and sister's, of course. Not hers. If there was an emoji for a standing ovation, I would put it here. You and your BF handled this outstandingly. /U0001F9CD /U200D /U0001F9CD /U200D /U0001F9CD /U0001F9CD /U200D /U0001F9CD /U0001F9CD /U200D 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 /U000 1F9CD backslash U200D backslash U0001F9CD backslash U0001F9CD backslash U200D backslash U200D backslash U200D. My attempt at a standing ovation emoji. For some reason, this chain of images made me want to join a pyramid scheme. Maybe write your mother a letter. Describe everything your sister did to warrant her to be kicked out. Tell her how you feel less loved and accepted than your sister, and why. Write down all the things you've been feeling during the years, and if you can give examples. And then be done with it. You did all you could. Your mom will know why you might not want her in your life as much, and if she chooses not to try to mend things, you know where you stand. Or send them both these posts and let them read it and the comments, so they know that not only does it not fly with op, but most people also think they are being nasty people too. That might not go as well as you expect, because it will give them more than one opportunity to blame shift and change the topic. I can't believe you told people about a private matter. Think of your sister's reputation. Blah. 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 All the while ignoring the fact that the sister has sexually assaulted someone, a crime, and been a garbage house guest. In my experience, families can become weird little messed up echo chambers, where one family member starts acting like a dickhead and the others cover for them, because they're family. So the original dickhead starts to ramp up the behavior and everyone else continues to cover for them until all kinds of crazy s is normalized. Then when someone sensible tries to bring some normality to the situation, they'll lash out, because they usually don't want to have to face how insane they've all been behaving. Your mum lashed out at you because facing your sister's behavior now means facing out of your sister's behavior, and I doubt she can do that. By any sane person's normal meter, she shouldn't have done that and should absolutely side with you over the sexual harasser, but I'm willing to bet that she's been excusing her s for so long that this doesn't even seem that bad to her, and she makes excuses for you sister, so why can't you? Because she's family. Well done for not caving to that s and standing up for your boyfriend. Kicking your sister out was the most loving thing you could have done for him. I'm honestly really sorry your mum screamed at you. My grandmother behaves in the exact same way, and it's awful to have a family member that's angry at you when you've done nothing wrong, and I don't know your sister or your mum. Maybe there's a chance you could reason with them. Maybe there's not, but my advice as someone who's survived a few big family blowouts is that they are not always worth it. Sometimes it's more cathartic to just say Sarah and move on with your life while they all stew in their insanity pit. I'm sorry for the essay, but good luck. I wish you the best. This is what happened with my younger brother. He dates children, spends all his money on partying, can't keep a job, is violent to his siblings and parents, drives under the influence, and just makes really bad decisions. He once even pulled a taser on my boyfriend as a joke and got mad at us for being upset that he would do that when I was still living at home. He came into my room on 2 different occasions and asked me to do his chore for him. I told him no, as on both occasions I had my friend over, and he immediately became aggressive, squaring his shoulders and walking towards me, yelling profanities, telling me how much my parents hated me, and making up fake conversation he'd had with them where they expressed these things. To the point I was shaking and crying in fear. My friend no longer came over if his car was there, because she is scared of him now. I told my mom the second time it happened, and she told him to stop, as I was dropping off my friend at the end of the night. I got a text from him telling me he wasn't being aggressive, but if I kept lying to mom and dad about what he was doing, he would show me aggressive. My parents told me they couldn't do anything because they didn't see it happen and didn't want to look like they were taking sides, despite a threat to my physical safety. So I went to stay with my boyfriend and his parents that night, and stayed over anytime I could. Anytime my brother and I fought after that. My parents told me I needed to work it out with him instead of protecting me when he became violent. They told me I must be engaging him or egging him on, and that if he started anything, I needed to just ignore him. If he comes into my room and throws the books off my shelf because he wants me to do dishes for him so he can go get drunk, I have to ignore him and just go to another room. They wonder why I don't come around anymore. and tell me I need to get over my differences with him because it takes two to have a fight. And as family we have to learn to get along. If a man physically a foot and a half taller than me comes into my space and starts throwing things, threatening the safety of my friends, trying to manipulate me by telling me about fake conversations he has with my parents, and threatening to attack me, of course I'm not going to want to stay in the house. Of course I'm not going to want my friend to come over. Of course I'm going to stay somewhere else. And of course I'm not going to talk to him. Yet I hold an equal part in our fight? No. F that. Control your man-child. You probably don't feel badass because setting boundaries and cutting off toxic family is really a painful process. You expect to feel triumphant or relieved at the very least. But mostly you just feel depressed and kinda guilty. That's perfectly normal, and please don't think that, because you feel shitty, that you did the wrong thing. It hurts you, because you still love them and that's okay. Just never forget that they are actively harmful and toxic to keep in your life. You did the right thing. And you are a badass.